Welcome, traveler of curiosity. Tonight, we set out together on a gentle journey across the earth, visiting its most breathtaking wonders through the lens of geography. From mountains that pierce the clouds to rivers that carve valleys for millions of years. From golden deserts that stretch endlessly to cities that pulse with human history. The world is filled with stories waiting to be told. This is not just a collection of amazing geography facts. It is an invitation to relax, to let your imagination wander, and to discover beauty in the hidden corners of our planet. Whether you are here to unwind after a long day or to drift peacefully into sleep, let these words be your guide. Before we begin, a soft request. If you find comfort in these journeys, consider subscribing to this channel. It is a way to keep traveling with us across continents and oceans, from the comfort of your own home. And in the comments, share your country, your city, and the time you are watching. Together, we form a small but global community, connected by curiosity and wonder. Now, let us begin with a fact that always amazes. The Earth's tallest mountain, Mount Everest, is famous for rising 8,849 meters above sea level. But did you know it is not the tallest mountain when measured from base to summit? That title belongs to Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Though only 4,205 meters appear above the ocean, its base rests deep beneath the Pacific. Measured in full, Mauna Kea stands over 10,200 meters tall, making it the true giant of Earth. Imagine it stretching from seabed to sky, a monument hidden in plain sight. Mountains are symbols of endurance, but they are also shaped by constant change. The Himalayas, including Everest, are still rising, pushed upward by the slow collision of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. Every year, they grow by a few millimeters, a reminder that the Earth is alive, shifting and sculpting itself, even as we sleep. From towering peaks, we move gently to rivers, the lifeblood of civilizations. The Nile in Africa, flowing more than 6,600 kilometers, has nourished human societies for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians called it a gift of the gods, for its annual floods brought fertile soil to the desert. Without the Nile, Cairo, one of the largest cities in Africa, would not exist as it does today. But the Nile is not alone in greatness. The Amazon River in South America carries more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. Its vast basin is home to the richest biodiversity on Earth, from pink dolphins to countless species of fish still unknown to science. And yet, rivers are not just natural wonders. They are cultural ones, too. The Ganges in India is considered sacred by millions, a place where faith and geography intertwine. The Mississippi in the United States has inspired countless stories, songs, and legends, serving as an artery of economy and culture. Rivers flow not only with water, but with history and meaning. Now, let us journey into the deserts, lands of extremes where silence reigns. The Sahara in North Africa is the largest hot desert in the world, stretching wider than the United States itself. Its dunes can reach heights of over 150 meters, shifting with the wind like golden oceans. Yet the Sahara was not always a desert. Thousands of years ago, it was green, filled with lakes and grazing animals. Ancient rock art still shows giraffes and elephants, where today only sand remains. Not all deserts are scorching. The coldest desert on Earth is Antarctica, where less than 2% of the land is free of ice. Its frozen expanse holds about 70% of the world's fresh water, locked away in glaciers that move slowly like frozen rivers. This desert of ice is also a place of discovery, where scientists search for clues about climate, ecosystems, and even meteorites from space. And speaking of space, imagine Earth as seen from above. The Great Wall of China, stretching more than 21,000 kilometers, is one of the most famous human-made wonders visible from the sky. It winds across mountains and valleys, built over centuries to protect dynasties. On the other side of the world, the city of Venice rests on over 100 small islands, connected by canals and bridges, built on wooden foundations sunk deep into mud. Venice is both fragile and enduring, a city where water is not a threat but a way of life. It is a wonder of both geography and human adaptation, attracting travelers seeking culture, luxury, and romance. Every wonder we visit is more than a fact. It is part of a story. Mountains rise because continents collide. Rivers carve valleys because water always seeks the sea. Cities grow because people adapt, build, and dream. Geography is not separate from history or culture. It is their foundation. And so, as we continue this journey, let your mind rest gently on these truths. The earth is full of wonders, some hidden, some celebrated, but all connected. Tonight, we will uncover many more. From volcanic islands to hidden caves, from bustling metropolises to silent glaciers, the world is waiting. Let us now move forward to our next chapter. The stunning mountains and highlands that define Earth's most majestic landscapes. Mountains have always stirred awe in the human imagination. They rise like guardians above the plains, their snow-capped peaks glowing in the first light of dawn. For travelers, climbers, and dreamers alike, mountains symbolize both challenge and serenity. Tonight, let us rest in their presence and explore their incredible geography. One of the most striking ranges is the Andes of South America. Stretching nearly 7,000 kilometers along the continent's western edge, they are the longest continental mountain range in the world. Within these highlands lies Aconcagua, the tallest peak outside Asia, reaching 6,961 meters above sea level. Its slopes attract climbers from across the world, but what makes the Andes even more remarkable is that entire cities thrive at their heights. La Paz, Bolivia's administrative capital, sits more than 3,600 meters above sea level, making it one of the highest major cities on Earth. Imagine a bustling metropolis where the thin air shapes daily life. From cooking to walking the steep streets. Moving across the globe, we find the Alps of Europe. Though smaller than the Andes or Himalayas, they are famous for their beauty and for being a hub of travel, luxury, and tourism. Cities like Geneva and Innsbruck welcome visitors who seek both winter adventure and peaceful alpine retreats. The Matterhorn, with its sharp pyramid shape, is one of the most photographed mountains in the world. Yet, beyond the postcard views, the Alps play a crucial role in Europe's economy, supplying fresh water to major rivers like the Rhine and the Rhine. These rivers carry goods, power hydroelectric plants, and support millions of people. Proof that mountains nourish far beyond their slopes. Farther north, the Scandinavian mountains rise across Norway and Sweden. They may not rival Everest in height, but their rugged landscapes host some of the most dramatic fjords on Earth. Glaciers carved these valleys over thousands of years, leaving behind narrow waterways surrounded by towering cliffs. Today, Norway's fjords are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, celebrated not just for their natural wonder, but also as centers of tourism. Cruise ships glide quietly through them, allowing visitors to experience the grandeur of geography shaped by ice and time. Beyond Europe, Africa holds a treasure of mountains. Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania stands proudly at 5,895 meters. Its snow-capped summit visible above the surrounding savanna. It is the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, rising alone rather than as part of a chain. Kilimanjaro is unique because its slopes hold every climate zone, from tropical forests at the base to alpine deserts near the top, and finally, glaciers at the summit. Travelers who climb it often describe the journey as walking from the equator to the poles in just a few days. Not far from Kilimanjaro lies Mount Kenya, equally fascinating, with jagged peaks that challenge even skilled climbers. Both mountains are vital, not only as landmarks, but also as water towers, feeding rivers and supporting agriculture across East Africa. These giants sustain life as much as they inspire. Across the ocean, in North America, the Rocky Mountains stretch from Canada down through the United States. Known simply as the Rockies, they are a spine of wilderness where forests, rivers, and wildlife thrive. Yellowstone National Park rests upon their volcanic heart, where geysers and hot springs remind us of the fiery forces beneath the surface. The Rockies are also tied deeply to history, once forming a barrier to westward migration, and later becoming a symbol of the American frontier. Today, they continue to draw millions of visitors each year for both recreation and education, blending nature with culture and economy. In Asia, the story of mountains reaches its peak. The Himalayas, already introduced through Mount Everest, hold not just the world's tallest mountains, but also countless other wonders. Kangsunjunga, Lhasa, Makalu, names that echo with mystery and challenge. These mountains shape weather patterns, block monsoon winds, and feed rivers that support billions of people across India, China, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Without the Himalayas, Asia's civilizations would look very different. But geography always hides surprises. While the Himalayas claim the tallest peaks, the Pamir Mountains in Central Asia are often called the roof of the world. Their high plateaus and towering summits mark one of Earth's most remote regions, where ancient trade routes once carried silk, spices, cases, and culture between East and West. Let us not forget the ancient Appalachian Mountains of North America. Unlike the youthful, jagged Himalayas, the Appalachians are old and worn. Their peaks softened by millions of years of erosion. Though not as tall, they are rich in forests, coal deposits, and cultural history, shaping life in the eastern United States. They remind us that mountains, like all things, pass through stages of life, from sharp youth to gentle old age. Mountains also tell us about deep time. The Drakensberg Mountains of South Africa, with their dramatic cliffs and rolling highlands, contain rock art painted by the Sand people thousands of years ago. Geography and human history merge here as landscapes become canvases for memory. From the jagged Alps to the ancient Appalachians, one truth emerges. Mountains are more than landforms. They are storytellers of the earth. They hold water, regulate climate, attract travelers, and inspire poets. They are places of culture, economy, and luxury travel, as well as symbols of endurance. And yet, even mountains bow to time. Glaciers retreat, peaks erode, and valleys deepen. What seems eternal is always in motion. That is the quiet power of geography. Change so slow we can barely notice, yet unstoppable and profound. Now, let us journey from the heights down into the flowing veins of the earth. In our next part, we will follow the great rivers, exploring their mysteries, histories, and the ways they sustain life and culture across continents. From the lofty peaks of mountains, water begins its quiet descent, forming streams that merge into rivers, the great arteries of the earth. Rivers shape landscapes, nurture civilizations, and serve as both barriers and bridges throughout history. They are not only geographical wonders, but also lifelines of culture, travel, economy, and survival. Tonight, let us drift downstream into their stories. The Nile, often celebrated as the world's longest river, flows more than 6,600 kilometers across 11 countries in Africa. It carries life through deserts where little else could thrive. Ancient Egyptians worshipped the Nile as a god, for its annual floods deposited rich silt that allowed crops to grow in otherwise barren lands. Today, cities like Cairo and Khartoum still depend on its waters, while the Aswan High Dam has transformed its flow to power electricity and control floods. Yet, even with modern engineering, the Nile remains a natural force, reminding us of how deeply humanity's fate is tied to rivers. But the Nile has a rival. The Amazon River in South America, though slightly shorter, is unmatched in volume. It discharges more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined, feeding the greatest rainforest on Earth in the Amazon basin. Scientists estimate there are thousands of undiscovered plant and animal species. Among its mysteries are pink river dolphins, massive anacondas, and a fish that can generate electric shocks. Indigenous communities have lived along its banks for millennia, drawing knowledge and sustenance from its endless waters. The Amazon is not just a river, it is an entire world. Asia holds its own river giants. The Yangtze in China stretches over 6,300 kilometers and is the longest river in Asia. It passes through diverse landscapes, from the glaciers of Tibet to the bustling megacity of Shanghai. Along its course lies the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydroelectric power station on Earth. It is a marvel of technology, but also a reminder of the delicate balance between human ambition and the forces of nature. The Yangtze carries history, too, as it was central to trade routes, poetry, and culture for thousands of years. Another Asian giant is the Ganges, flowing through India and Bangladesh. Unlike other rivers, the Ganges is revered as sacred, considered by millions to be a goddess. Its waters are used in religious ceremonies, rituals, and pilgrimages. Despite challenges of pollution and population pressure, the river's spiritual role remains immense. Cities like Varanasi, where people bathe on its ghats, exist almost entirely because of the Ganges' presence. Here, geography becomes faith, and water becomes a bridge between the earthly and the divine. In North America, the Mississippi River carves a path of nearly 3,800 kilometers, draining a vast basin that stretches from the Rockies to the Appalachians. Known as the Father of Waters, it has been central to the history and economy of the United States. Indigenous peoples used it as a highway long before European settlers arrived. Later, it carried trade, culture, and conflict. Today, massive barges float along its currents, moving agricultural goods and natural resources. Yet, alongside this industrial use, the Mississippi still inspires literature, songs, and a sense of identity. Its presence is both practical and poetic. Across Europe, the Danube flows through more countries than any other river in the world, 10 in total. It begins in Germany's Black Forest and winds its way to the Black Sea. The Danube has always been a crossroads of culture, carrying influences from east and west. Along its banks lie cities like Vienna, Budapest, and Belgrade, each shaped by the river's flow. Today, river cruises allow travelers to glide peacefully between nations, experiencing history, culture, and luxury travel in a single journey. Another European marvel is the Volga, the longest river on the continent. Flowing through Russia, it has been called Mother Volga in folklore, poetry, and song. Its vast basin is vital to the Russian economy, connecting inland regions to the Caspian Sea. Like many great rivers, the Volga is both a natural and cultural symbol, shaping identity across centuries. But not all rivers are massive. Some captivate by their uniqueness. The Congo River in Africa is the world's deepest, plunging over 220 meters in certain places. Its rapids and waterfalls make it a powerhouse of hydroelectric potential. The Mekong in Southeast Asia supports millions of people with its fertile floodplains, rice paddies, and fisheries. Yet it also harbors mysteries, from giant catfish to hidden caves along its banks. Then there are rivers with unusual behaviors. The Okavango River in southern Africa does not reach the sea. Instead, it empties into the Kalahari Desert, creating the Okavango Delta, a seasonal paradise for wildlife. Here, elephants, lions, and hippos gather, sustained by waters that disappear into the sands. This inland delta is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the greatest natural spectacles on Earth. Even small rivers have stories. In Iceland, the Hvita flows past the Gullfoss waterfall, where icy torrents crash into a canyon with thunderous power. In South America, the Cano Crystals is known as the River of Five Colors, because algae in its waters turn brilliant shades of red, yellow, green, and blue during certain seasons. These smaller rivers remind us that geography's wonders exist not only in scale, but also in detail. Rivers, like veins, pulse with energy. They feed civilizations, inspire legends, and sustain nature. They are highways of culture, economy, and tourism, where history flows alongside water. From the Amazon to the Nile, from the Yangtze to the Mississippi, they remind us that life is inseparable from geography. And so, as the waters slow, we prepare to cross into even more dramatic landscapes. In our next part, we will leave rivers behind and journey into the deserts of the earth. Vast oceans of sand, wind, and silence that hold secrets both ancient and modern. From flowing rivers, we now drift into silence, into the endless horizons of deserts. These landscapes might seem empty at first glance, but deserts are far from lifeless. They are among the most fascinating and misunderstood environments on Earth, filled with hidden wonders, ancient history, and breathtaking geography. The Sahara Desert in North Africa is perhaps the most famous of them all. Covering an area roughly the size of the United States, it is the largest hot desert on Earth. Its golden dunes stretch endlessly. But the Sahara is not just sand. It also contains mountains, plateaus, and rocky plains. Some of its dunes rise over 180 meters high, taller than skyscrapers. Yet, the Sahara has not always been dry. Scientists have found evidence that thousands of years ago, this region was green, with rivers, lakes, and even hippos. Cave paintings show giraffes, elephants, and cattle roaming freely. Climate shifts turned it into the desert we know today, a reminder that geography is always in motion. While the Sahara is the largest hot desert, the largest overall desert on Earth is actually Antarctica. Though it is covered in ice, its lack of rainfall qualifies it as a desert. Antarctica holds nearly 70% of the world's fresh water, locked in frozen sheets. Its vast white expanse is one of the harshest places on Earth. Yet it is also home to penguins, seals, and resilient scientists who study its secrets. The contrast between the Sahara's blazing heat and Antarctica's frozen silence shows the true diversity of deserts. Moving to the Middle East, the Arabian Desert covers much of the Arabian Peninsula. Within it lies the Rub al-Khali, or the Empty Quarter, one of the largest continuous stretches of sand in the world. Its dunes can extend for hundreds of kilometers without interruption, creating landscapes so remote and inhospitable that very few humans ever venture deep inside. Yet at its edges, civilizations have thrived for thousands of years, using oases as lifelines for trade and survival. Camel caravans once crossed these vast spaces, carrying spices, incense, and knowledge between cultures. In Asia, the Gobi Desert stretches across China and Mongolia. Unlike sandy deserts, much of the Gobi is composed of bare rock and gravel plains. It is infamous for its temperature extremes, scorching in summer, freezing in winter. The Gobi is also a treasure trove for paleontologists, as it has yielded some of the world's most important dinosaur fossils. Imagine explorers brushing sand away to uncover eggs and bones preserved for millions of years. A desert as a library of Earth's deep past. The Atacama Desert of Chile is another marvel. It is considered the driest non-polar desert in the world. Some areas of the Atacama have gone centuries without recorded rainfall. Yet even here, life finds a way. Unique plants and animals have adapted to survive, drawing moisture from fog or underground reserves. The Atacamas, dry air, and high altitude also make it one of the best places on Earth for stargazing. Astronomers have built powerful observatories here, using the clear skies to peer deep into the universe. A place of barrenness becomes a gateway to the stars. North America's deserts carry their own charm. The Mojave Desert in the United States is home to the iconic Joshua tree, a plant that seems almost otherworldly. The Sonoran Desert, spanning Arizona and Mexico, contains the giant saguaro cactus, which can grow taller than a two-story house. These landscapes are also cultural landmarks featured in art, photography, and film. They attract travelers seeking both adventure and tranquility. Australia, too, is a land of deserts. The Great Victoria Desert and the Simpson Desert cover vast stretches of the interior. In Aboriginal culture, these deserts are not empty, but living landscapes filled with spiritual meaning. Rock formations, like Uluru, rise dramatically from the flat desert floor. Sacred sites that link geography to identity and history. Not all deserts are hot. The Patagonian Desert in Argentina is cold, swept by winds from the Andes. It is the largest desert in South America, with wide plains where guanacos roam. In winter, snow sometimes dusts the land, blending desert with tundra. This diversity of climate shows that deserts are not simply defined by sand, but by scarcity of water. Deserts are also places of surprising luxury. Around the world, travelers seek out desert resorts where modern architecture blends with ancient landscapes. In places like Dubai, luxury tourism has transformed the desert into a destination of culture, technology, and innovation. Visitors ride camels, glide over dunes in four-wheel drives, or sleep under the stars in lavish tents. Geography, once seen as a barrier, becomes an invitation to explore. What unites all deserts, whether hot or cold, sandy or rocky, is their silence. They remind us of Earth's contrasts. Life thriving in scarcity, beauty born of emptiness, history written in stone and sand. In deserts, time feels slower, measured not in minutes, but in centuries of wind and shifting dunes. As we leave the deserts behind, we prepare to enter another realm shaped by water and wind. In the next part, we will explore the coastlines and seas, the boundaries between land and ocean, where cultures meet and geography dazzles with its diversity. From the vast silence of deserts, we now arrive at the edges of continents, the coastlines where land and sea meet in endless conversation. Coasts are places of movement and exchange. They are the first contact zones for travelers, merchants, explorers, and cultures. They are also shaped by nature's rhythm, the tides, the winds, the waves. Tonight, we wander along the shores of Earth to discover their wonders. Let us begin with the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, the largest coral reef system on the planet. Stretching over 2,300 kilometers, it is so vast that it can be seen from space. Made of billions of tiny coral polyps, it is both a living organism and a fragile ecosystem. More than 1,500 species of fish swim among its corals, along with turtles, sharks, and manta rays. Beyond its natural beauty, the reef sustains local economies through tourism and fishing, while also being a cornerstone of marine science and conservation. It is a reminder of both Earth's beauty and its vulnerability. On the other side of the world lies the cliffs of Moher in Ireland. Rising more than 200 meters above the Atlantic, they are some of Europe's most iconic coastal landscapes. The dark limestone cliffs, battered by centuries of waves, have inspired legends, songs, and films. From the top, visitors can see seabirds nesting on ledges, and on clear days, even glimpse the Aran Islands in the distance. Here, geology meets culture, turning a rugged coastline into a symbol of Ireland's identity. In Norway, the fjords are nature's coastal masterpieces. These deep, narrow inlets, carved by glaciers, stretched far inland, flanked by steep cliffs. The Garangerfjord and then Crayford are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, renowned for their dramatic beauty. Waterfalls cascade down their cliffs, and villages cling to their shores, isolated yet connected by the sea. The fjords have become major travel destinations, where luxury cruises glide between walls of rock and ice, offering visitors a front-row seat to some of Earth's most majestic scenery. Shifting to Asia, the Ha Long Bay in Vietnam is another coastal wonder. Its emerald waters are dotted with thousands of limestone islands, each covered in lush greenery. Local legends tell of dragons that descended from the heavens, creating the islands with their tails. Today, the bay is both a UNESCO site and a tourism hub, where travelers sail in traditional wooden junks. It is a landscape that blends mythology, culture, and geography seamlessly. In Africa, the skeleton coast of Namibia presents a stark contrast. Known for its haunting beauty, it stretches along the Atlantic with shifting dunes, shipwrecks, and colonies of seals. Its name comes from the many ships and sailors lost to its fogs, currents, and unforgiving terrain. Yet, it is precisely this harshness that makes it extraordinary. Few places on Earth feel so remote, where the desert literally touches the sea, and wildlife thrives against all odds. The Amalfi Coast in Italy offers another perspective. Unlike the wildness of Namibia, Amalfi dazzles with human presence. Colorful villages like Positano and Amalfi cling to steep cliffs, overlooking the blue waters of the Mediterranean. Terrace gardens, lemon groves, and winding roads create a landscape of culture and luxury. For centuries, it has drawn travelers, artists, and poets who seek inspiration along its shores. Today, it is one of the most celebrated travel destinations in the world, blending geography with human artistry. Farther north, the white cliffs of Dover in England stand as a symbol of resilience. Made of chalk, they gleam brilliantly against the sea. For centuries, they marked the edge of the known world for sailors arriving or leaving Britain. During times of conflict, they became emblems of defense and endurance. They remind us that coastlines are not only natural boundaries, but also historical frontiers. Some coastal wonders are hidden beneath the waves. The Maldives in the Indian Ocean consist of more than 1,000 coral islands, scattered like pearls across turquoise waters. Their beaches are considered some of the finest in the world, drawing travelers seeking tranquility and luxury. Yet, their low elevation makes them fragile, threatened by rising sea levels. Geography here is both a paradise and a warning, showing how climate change shapes even the most beautiful corners of Earth in the Americas. Patagonia's southern coast astonishes with its rugged isolation. At the tip of South America lies Tierra del Fuego, where the Andes meet the sea. The region is windswept, wild, and sparsely populated. But its fjords, glaciers, and islands create landscapes of haunting beauty. Sailors once called it the end of the world. Today, it draws adventurous travelers who want to feel the raw edge of Earth. On the Pacific coast of the United States, Big Sur, in California, combines natural drama with cultural mystique. Here, the Santa Lucia Mountains plunge into the ocean, creating one of the world's most scenic drives along Highway 1. For decades, Big Sur has attracted artists, writers, and travelers drawn by its cliffs, misty horizons, and sense of escape. It represents the fusion of geography with imagination, a coastline that feels like a living poem. From coral reefs to fjords, from desolate deserts by the sea to bustling Mediterranean villages, coasts reveal the eternal meeting of land and water. They are shaped by waves, winds, and human hands, becoming theaters of both nature and culture. As we leave the coasts behind, we journey inward once more, this time to the mountains, the giants of Earth that tower above us, inspiring awe, adventure, and spirituality. From the gentle edges of coastlines, our journey rises upward, into the high places of Earth, the mountains. These giants of stone and ice dominate landscapes, shape cultures, and command both respect and wonder. They are the roof of our planet, where air thins, climates change, and myths are born. Tonight, let us wander among the peaks. We begin with the Himalayas, home to the tallest mountains on Earth, Mount Everest. Rising 8,849 meters above sea level, is the highest of them all. Known as Sagarmatha in Nepal and Chomolungma in Tibet, it has been revered for centuries as a sacred peak. Climbing Everest is a feat of human endurance and resilience. Yet, for local communities like the Sherpa people, the mountain is not just a challenge. It is a living spirit, woven into their traditions and livelihoods. The Himalayas, as a whole, stretch across 5 countries and hold vast glaciers that feed many of Asia's great rivers, supporting nearly 2 billion people. Mountains here are not only inspiring, but essential to life. Far to the south, the Andes of South America form the longest continental mountain range in the world, stretching over 7,000 kilometers from Venezuela down to Chile and Argentina. The Andes are rich in cultural history, having been the heartland of the Inca Empire. Machu Picchu, perched high in these mountains, remains one of the most famous archaeological sites on Earth. The Andes are also home to Aconcagua, the tallest mountain outside of Asia, rising nearly 7,000 meters. These peaks are more than geology. They are chapters in humanity's story of resilience, adaptation, and exploration. North America boasts its own mountain giants, with the Rockies running from Canada through the United States to New Mexico. Known for their snow-capped peaks, alpine lakes, and vast forests, the Rockies are both a natural wonder and a major driver of tourism. Ski resorts, national parks, and wilderness trails draw millions of visitors each year. Beyond recreation, these mountains play a crucial role in water supply, feeding rivers that irrigate farms and sustain cities. Geography here is not just beautiful, but vital for economies and communities. In Europe, the Alps stand as iconic symbols of natural splendor. Spanning across 8 countries, including Switzerland, France, and Italy. From alpine folklore to winter sports, they are also central to the luxury tourism industry, with ski resorts like St. Moritz and Chamonix attracting visitors from around the globe. Yet, beyond their glamour, the Alps are vital ecosystems, supporting unique wildlife and traditional ways of life in mountain villages. Mountains also appear in unexpected places. In Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro rises from the plains of Tanzania, standing alone as the tallest freestanding mountain in the world at 5,895 meters. Its snow-capped summit, surrounded by savanna and wildlife, has inspired countless travelers. Kilimanjaro is not only a geographical marvel, but also a cultural and spiritual symbol, appearing in literature, folklore, and even songs. It represents both challenge and majesty, drawing climbers and dreamers alike. In Japan, Mount Fuji holds a special place as both a natural and cultural landmark. This symmetrical volcanic cone is considered sacred and has inspired art, poetry, and spirituality for centuries. Climbing Fuji is seen not only as a physical achievement, but also as a pilgrimage. Its beauty, visible from Tokyo on clear days, reminds us that mountains often serve as symbols of national identity. Beyond the well-known peaks, some mountains are hidden marvels. The Drakensberg in South Africa, meaning dragons, mountains, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with dramatic cliffs and ancient sand rock art. The Caucasus, between the Black and Caspian Seas, contain Mount Elbrus, the tallest peak in Europe. And in New Zealand, the Southern Alps rise dramatically across the South Island, where glaciers meet forests, creating landscapes so cinematic that they became the backdrop for films like The Lord of the Rings. Not all mountains are about height. Some are remarkable for their formation. The Hawaiian Islands, for example, are volcanic mountains rising from the seafloor. Mauna Kea, measured from its base beneath the ocean, is actually taller than Everest. It is also one of the world's premier locations for astronomy, where observatories peer deep into space. Here, mountains are not just earthly giants, but platforms for exploring the cosmos. Mountains are also places of resilience and adaptation. Communities living in high-altitude environments have developed unique cultures, cuisines, and lifestyles. From the Quechua people of the Andes to the Sherpas of the Himalayas, mountain dwellers embody harmony with harsh environments. Geography here does not separate people from life. It gives rise to new ways of living. Above all, mountains teach us humility. Standing before them, we feel our own smallness, yet they also inspire ambition, adventure, and dreams. They are storytellers of Earth's geological past, formed by the collision of continents and sculpted by glaciers. They are symbols of endurance, rising through time, weather, and change. As we descend from the high peaks, we prepare to enter another realm, the Great Plains and Plateaus, where openness stretches to the horizon and life thrives on vast expanses of land. After tracing the rugged outlines of mountains, we now step onto a very different kind of landscape, the plains and plateaus. These are the great stretches of open land where the horizon seems endless, where skies feel larger, and where human civilizations have often flourished. Plains may lack the towering drama of mountains, but they hold a quiet majesty of their own, expansive, fertile, and life-giving. Let us begin with the Great Plains of North America, often called the breadbasket of the world. Stretching from Canada down through the United States into northern Mexico. This vast region is defined by rolling grasslands, fertile soil, and sweeping prairies. It was once home to immense herds of bison, central to the cultures of indigenous peoples, like the Lakota and Comanche. Today, it remains crucial for global agriculture, producing wheat, corn, and cattle that sustain millions. While some may see it as flat and empty, the Great Plains are a cornerstone of human survival and economic power. Across the Atlantic, Europe's Great Hungarian Plain offers a similar story. This fertile lowland has long been a crossroads of cultures shaped by migrations, conquests, and farming traditions. Known locally as the Puszta, it has a unique cultural identity, with horse herders and traditional music echoing across its wide horizons. Plains like these remind us that open landscapes are not just natural zones, but cultural heartlands where identity and tradition grow as richly as crops. In Asia, the Central Asian steppe stretches across Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and beyond. These grasslands were the home of nomadic peoples who mastered horseback riding, giving rise to powerful empires like that of Genghis Khan. The steppe is also an ecological wonder, with hardy plants and animals adapted to its extreme climate. For centuries, it has been a corridor of trade and conquest, connecting Europe and Asia through the famous Silk Road. Geography here becomes not just land, but a stage for history itself. The African continent also offers plains of extraordinary scale. The Serengeti in Tanzania is perhaps the most famous. Here, golden grasslands stretch as far as the eye can see, interrupted by acacia trees and the silhouettes of migrating animals. Each year, millions of wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles travel across these plains in search of water and fresh pasture. It is the greatest land migration on Earth, attracting travelers and scientists alike. Beyond its role in ecology, the Serengeti is a symbol of nature's rhythm, timeless and awe-inspiring. In South America, the pampas of Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil are legendary for their role in shaping culture and economy. These fertile plains are the home of cattle ranching and the gaucho tradition, with horseback skills and music that form a core part of national identities. Beef from the pampas has become a global export, feeding cities far beyond the continent. The pampas show how geography can feed economies, while also shaping cultural pride. Turning to plateaus, we find the Tibetan Plateau, often called the roof of the world. It is the highest and largest plateau on Earth. Its glaciers feed Asia's great rivers, including the Yangtze, the Ganges, and the Mekong, making it one of the most vital water sources for billions of people. The plateau is also a cultural landscape, home to Tibetan Buddhism, monasteries, and traditions adapted to life in thin air. Its remoteness and grandeur have inspired travelers, spiritual seekers, and explorers for centuries. South America holds another striking plateau, the Altiplano of Bolivia and Peru. Surrounded by the Andes, this high plain is dotted with salt flats, lakes, and traditional villages. Lake Titicaca, the world's highest navigable lake, lies here. Shimmering blue at nearly 4,000 meters above sea level. The Altiplano is both a place of stark beauty and cultural resilience, where communities have thrived for millennia despite harsh conditions. In India, the Deccan Plateau stands as a vast region of volcanic rock and fertile soil. Historically, it has been the foundation of powerful kingdoms, empires, and trade networks. Its geography has shaped the subcontinent's culture, from architecture to agriculture. Today, it remains an economic hub, with cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore flourishing on its land. This plateau reminds us that geography often underpins modern technology and development, even when its history stretches back thousands of years. Australia, too, holds vast plateaus and plains, such as the Nullarbor Plain, whose name literally means no trees. It is one of the flattest landscapes on Earth, stretching endlessly under blue skies. Despite its sparse vegetation, it carries unique ecological and geological significance. Its caves, cliffs, and coastal edges tell stories of Earth's natural past, while its vastness creates a sense of solitude and wonder. What unites plains and plateaus across the world is their openness. Unlike the vertical drama of mountains, they inspire with horizontality, with a sense of being surrounded by sky, of endless possibility, of roads that stretch beyond sight. They are places of agriculture, migration, and culture. They may seem simple at first glance, yet they are the beating heart of civilizations, feeding both body and spirit. As we leave these wide expanses behind, our journey now flows toward a different element: water. Next, we will follow rivers, the lifelines of continents, carving valleys, shaping cities, and sustaining humanity since its earliest days. From the endless horizons of plains and plateaus, our journey now flows into motion, into the arteries of our planet, the rivers. Rivers are more than just channels of water. They are the lifelines of civilizations, shaping landscapes, nourishing fields, and serving as highways of trade and culture. For as long as humans have existed, rivers have been both home and guide, carrying stories of survival and prosperity. Let us begin with the Nile, often called the longest river in the world. Stretching more than 6,650 kilometers. It flows northward through 11 countries before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. Ancient Egypt flourished along its banks, dependent on its annual floods to deposit fertile. Without the Nile, there would have been no pyramids, no great temples, no enduring civilization. Today, the Nile continues to sustain millions of people, reminding us that rivers are not just part of history, they are living forces of the present. In South America, the Amazon River carries more water than any other river on Earth. It is so immense that it accounts for 1/5 of all the fresh water flowing into the oceans. Its basin is home to the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the planet, where biodiversity thrives like nowhere else. The river is not only a geographical marvel, but a cultural one, sustaining indigenous communities whose traditions remain deeply tied to its waters. The Amazon teaches us that rivers are not just physical features, but worlds of life unto themselves. Asia is home to the Yangtze, the longest river on the continent and the third longest in the world. flowing over 6,300 kilometers across China. It has been central to the country's economy, culture, and identity for thousands of years. The river's fertile valleys supported the growth of early Chinese civilizations, while today it powers industry through hydroelectric projects like the Three Gorges Dam, one of the largest engineering feats in human history. Yet, even as it drives modern technology and energy, the Yangtze still nourishes rice fields at life, a symbol of balance between progress and nature. In Europe, the Danube flows through 10 countries, more than any other river in the world. Rising in Germany's Black Forest and ending in the Black Sea, it has long been a corridor of commerce, culture, and migration. Cities such as Vienna, Budapest, and Belgrade stand proudly on its banks. For centuries, the Danube has been celebrated in music, literature, and art, earning it the title, the Queen of Europe's Rivers. Here, geography and culture blend seamlessly as the river becomes not just a natural feature, but a shared heritage. The Ganges, flowing through India and Bangladesh, holds spiritual significance unlike any other. It is revered as sacred in Hinduism, symbolizing purity, life, and renewal. Millions of pilgrims visit its banks each year, bathing in its waters and performing rituals. The Ganges is both a physical river and a spiritual lifeline, binding together faith, culture, and geography in a way that transcends borders. Turning to North America, the Mississippi River stretches over 3,700 kilometers, dividing the continent almost in half. Known as the Father of Waters, it has been central to trade, transportation, and settlement. From Native American cultures to modern cities like New Orleans and St. Louis, the river has shaped economies and traditions. Its vast delta, where it meets the Gulf of Mexico, is one of the most important ecological zones in the United States, supporting fisheries and wetlands. Not all rivers are vast giants. Some are remarkable for their uniqueness. The Okavango in Botswana, for example, flows not to the sea, but into the sands of the Kalahari Desert, creating a lush inland delta filled with wildlife. This unusual river system sustains elephants, lions, and hippos, making it one of the world's great natural wonders. Similarly, Canada's Mackenzie River flows through pristine wilderness, a reminder of the raw power and beauty of unspoiled landscapes. Even short rivers can leave a profound mark. The Jordan River, though only about 250 kilometers long, carries immense historical and religious significance, mentioned in sacred texts and tied to traditions stretching back millennia. Geography here proves that scale does not define importance, meaning does. Rivers also remind us of the interconnectedness of Earth. They link mountains to oceans, forests to fields, and villages to cities. They are highways of nature, carrying sediments that form fertile deltas, nourishing crops that feed civilizations. They are also bridges of culture, where trade routes, songs, and myths have flowed as surely as water. As rivers carve valleys and sustain life, they also guide us to the oceans, the vast expanses where rivers end, but where Earth's greatest mysteries begin. In the next chapter of our journey, we will sail out into the seas and oceans, where water becomes infinite and the world feels endless. From rivers that carve through continents, we now arrive at their final destination. The oceans and seas. The vast blue expanses that cover more than 70% of our planet. They are Earth's greatest wonders, mysterious, powerful, and deeply calming. To gaze upon the ocean is to feel both small and infinite, to sense the heartbeat of the planet itself. Oceans are not only beautiful, they are essential, regulating climate, carrying commerce, and holding secrets that humanity is still discovering. Let us begin with the Pacific Ocean, the largest and deepest of them all. It stretches from Asia to the Americas, covering an area greater than all the continents combined. At its deepest point lies the Mariana Trench, plunging nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. To put this in perspective, if Mount Everest were placed inside the trench, its peak would still be far below sea level. The Pacific is also dotted with thousands of islands, from volcanic chains like Hawaii to coral atolls scattered across Micronesia. This ocean is both a realm of natural wonder and a cultural one, with Polynesian navigators mastering its vastness using only the stars, waves, and winds. The Atlantic Ocean, narrower yet equally significant, has long been a bridge between worlds. For centuries, it carried ships of exploration, trade, and migration between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. Beneath its surface lies the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a massive underwater mountain chain where tectonic plates slowly move apart, creating new seafloor. The Atlantic is also known for its dramatic weather systems, from hurricanes that shape coastlines to the Gulf Stream, a powerful current that influences the climate of entire continents. Here, the ocean is not passive but active, shaping the destiny of nations and the rhythm of the Earth's climate. The Indian Ocean, warm and full of life, has been central to global trade for millennia. Spices, silk, and precious stones once traveled across its waters, carried by monsoon winds that traders had learned to predict. Today, it remains vital for shipping routes and fishing economies, while also being home to spectacular ecosystems. From the Maldives' coral reefs to the coastlines of East Africa, the Indian Ocean combines natural beauty with cultural heritage, linking civilizations as far apart as India, Arabia, and Africa. The Southern Ocean, surrounding Antarctica, is a place of extremes. Its cold waters drive a global system of currents that regulate temperatures across the planet. Its icy seas are home to penguins, whales, and vast colonies of krill, small creatures that form the foundation of one of the world's most important food chains. This ocean is both fragile and powerful, a reminder that even the most remote parts of Earth influence life everywhere else. The Arctic Ocean, the smallest and shallowest, is a place of striking beauty and rapid change. For centuries, it was locked in ice, known only to indigenous peoples like the Inuit and the who developed knowledge and traditions deeply tied to its harsh yet beautiful environment. Today, as the Arctic ice melts, new shipping routes open and ecosystems face profound challenges. The Arctic Ocean is a frontier where the effects of climate change can be seen more clearly than anywhere else. Beyond oceans, seas also hold wonders of their own. The Mediterranean, surrounded by ancient civilizations, has been called the cradle of Western culture. Its calm waters carried the ships of Greeks, Romans, Phoenicians, and Egyptians. Its coastlines are rich in history, dotted with ruins and cities that tell the story of human progress. The Mediterranean is more than a sea. It is a cultural bridge connecting continents and peoples. The Caribbean Sea, by contrast, is a paradise of turquoise waters and coral reefs. Known for its biodiversity, it hosts some of the most beautiful marine environments in the world, while also being a hub for tourism and luxury travel. The Caribbean blends natural wonder with human enjoyment, offering both ecological significance and cultural vibrance. Another unique body of water is the Red Sea, lying between Africa and Asia. Its name comes not from its color, but from occasional blooms of red-hued algae. Its waters are among the saltiest in the world, and are home to extraordinary coral reefs that thrive in extreme conditions. Historically, the Red Sea was a key part of trade routes connecting the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean, making it both a natural wonder and a historical crossroads. The Dead Sea, nestled between Jordan and Israel, is famous for being the lowest point on Earth's surface. Its waters are so salty that swimmers naturally float without effort. For thousands of years, it has been a place of healing, legend, and fascination. Though technically a lake, its uniqueness earns it a place among the world's most extraordinary seas. Oceans and seas remind us of the dual nature of water, calm and inviting on the surface, yet vast and untamable in depth. They carry ships, cradle cultures, and shape climates. They hold mysteries still hidden from science, unknown species, unseen trenches, and unexplored currents. When we think of Earth as the blue planet, it is the oceans that give it that identity. As we leave the vast waters behind, our journey now turns toward a very different but equally powerful force of geography: the deserts. These are the lands of silence and endurance, where sand and stone stretch endlessly, and where life, against all odds, still thrives. From the vast oceans full of movement and abundance, we now step into a world defined by stillness and silence: the deserts. At first glance, deserts may seem empty, endless wastelands, but look closer, and you will see they are places of survival, resilience, and hidden beauty, covering about 1/3 of Earth's land surface. Deserts are extreme, yet vital environments that shape both nature and human history. The Sahara, the largest hot desert in the world, spreads across North Africa like a golden ocean of sand. It is nearly the size of the United States, stretching over 9 million square kilometers. Despite its harshness, the Sahara has long been a crossroads of cultures, with ancient caravan routes carrying salt, gold, and knowledge across its dunes. The desert is not only sand, but also mountains, plateaus, and oases where life finds a way to thrive. It is a place of extremes: scorching heat during the day and freezing cold at night, a reminder of nature's contrasts. In contrast, the Arabian Desert covers much of the Arabian Peninsula, known for its rolling sand dunes, some of which can reach up to 250 meters in height. It has been home to nomadic Bedouin tribes for centuries. They mastered survival in this harsh environment, guided by the stars and sustained by the sparse oases that dotted the land. Today, cities like Riyadh and Dubai rise on its edges, blending ancient desert traditions with modern luxury and technology. The Arabian Desert shows how human culture adapts to even the most unforgiving landscapes. The Gobi Desert, stretching across northern China and Mongolia, is not a desert of sand, but of rock and gravel. Its wind-swept plains once formed part of the Silk Road, where traders carried silk, spices, and precious goods between east and west. The Gobi is also a land of paleontological treasure, where some of the first dinosaur eggs were discovered. Here, the desert preserves not only the bones of ancient creatures, but also the memory of ancient civilizations. In South America, the Atacama Desert of Chile is one of the driest places on Earth. Some areas of the Atacama have gone centuries without rainfall. Yet, despite the dryness, life endures. Strange plants, hardy animals, and human communities have adapted in remarkable ways. The desert's high altitude and clear skies also make it one of the best places on Earth for astronomy, home to some of the world's most powerful telescopes. Here, the desert becomes a window to the stars. Australia's Great Victoria Desert is the largest in that continent, a place of red sands and sparse vegetation. It is home to indigenous Australian peoples whose knowledge of the land, passed down for thousands of years, allows them to live in balance with this seemingly barren environment. The desert is also home to unique wildlife, such as kangaroos and emus, animals perfectly adapted to its challenges. Moving to North America, the Mojave Desert spans parts of California, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. It is the home of Death Valley, the hottest place on Earth, where temperatures have reached nearly 57 degrees Celsius. Yet, even here, life persists. From resilient cacti to animals that rest in burrows during the day and emerge at night. The Mojave also holds cultural landmarks, from Native American heritage to the glittering city of Las Vegas, a symbol of human ambition in the desert. Not all deserts are hot. The cold deserts of the world, such as those in Antarctica, challenge our understanding of what a desert can be. Antarctica receives so little precipitation that it qualifies as a desert, the largest cold desert in the world. Here, survival is a test of endurance, with life limited to hardy penguins, seals, and microscopic organisms hidden in the ice. The Antarctic Desert is a reminder that deserts are defined not by heat, but by dryness and scarcity. Deserts also hold secrets beneath their sands, ancient fossils, buried cities, and even rivers that once flowed freely are hidden below the surface. In the Sahara, satellite images have revealed the remnants of vast lakes that once existed thousands of years ago. These discoveries remind us that deserts are not timeless wastelands, but evolving landscapes with deep histories. Beyond their physical features, deserts have always inspired human imagination. They are places of solitude and reflection, where silence speaks louder than sound. Seeing deserts as spaces where one confronts both nature and the self. From these kingdoms of silence and endurance, our journey will soon turn toward the highlands, the plateaus and elevated plains of Earth. These regions, perched between mountains and valleys, offer yet another perspective on the planet's endless variety. From the deserts, dry and seemingly endless, we now ascend to the plateaus, the elevated lands that rise above the surrounding landscapes like natural fortresses. Plateaus are the middle ground between mountains and plains, vast stretches of level highlands that hold both geological wonder and cultural significance. They are sometimes called tablelands, flat on the surface, yet rich in hidden stories. One of the most famous is the Tibetan Plateau, often called the roof of the world. Covering nearly 2.5 million square kilometers, it is the highest and largest plateau on Earth, averaging over 4,500 meters in elevation. This plateau influences the climate of Asia, feeding major rivers such as the Yangtze, the Mekong, and the Ganges. It is not only a geological marvel, but also a cultural heartland, home to Tibetan traditions, monasteries, and a way of life shaped by thin air and vast horizons. To stand upon the Tibetan Plateau is to feel the closeness of the sky and the immensity of the earth. Another vast plateau is the Deccan Plateau in India. Surrounded by mountain ranges, it has been the cradle of powerful kingdoms and vibrant cultures for millennia. The plateau is rich in volcanic soil, which has nourished agriculture and supported civilizations since ancient times. Today, it remains a region of economic and cultural vitality, with cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore thriving as hubs of technology and innovation. The Deccan Plateau shows how geography can shape both tradition and progress. In South America, the Altiplano stretches across Bolivia, Peru, Chile, and Argentina. This high plateau is the second largest in the world, after Tibet, and is known for its stark beauty. It is home to Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake on Earth, a place sacred to the Inca civilization and still revered today. The Altiplano is a land of contrasts. Arid plains dotted with vibrant lagoons, salt flats, and volcanoes. Its people, living at high altitudes, have preserved traditions that connect them deeply to this unique environment. The Colorado Plateau in the western United States is a land of striking geological formations. It is home to the Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, and Bryce Canyon, some of the most iconic landscapes in North America. Here, layers of rock tell the story of hundreds of millions of years, carved by rivers and winds into breathtaking shapes. The plateau is not only a natural wonder, but also a cultural one, with Native American tribes such as the Navajo and Hopi maintaining deep ties to the land. The Colorado Plateau is a living museum of Earth's history, carved into stone. In Africa, the Ethiopian highlands rise as a rugged plateau that has been called the roof of Africa. These highlands are the source of the Blue Nile River, which flows northward to join the White Nile and eventually form the Great Nile River. The Ethiopian highlands have nurtured civilizations for thousands of years, from ancient kingdoms to the Christian heritage of Lalibella's rock-hewn churches. Today, they remain a place of cultural richness and natural beauty, full, with landscapes that shift from green valleys to jagged peaks. The Kimberley Plateau in Australia offers a different kind of highland beauty. It's remote and ancient. It is home to dramatic gorges, waterfalls, and rock formations. Indigenous peoples have lived here for tens of thousands of years, leaving behind rock art that tells stories of ancestors and creation. The Kimberley Plateau embodies both geological antiquity and cultural continuity, a place where time feels layered and alive. Plateaus also play vital roles in human life. Many are rich in minerals, agriculture, and biodiversity. Some, like the Central Siberian Plateau in Russia, are vast and sparsely populated, holding reserves of natural resources. Others, like the Mexican Plateau, have supported dense populations and thriving cultures for centuries. What makes plateaus so fascinating is their dual nature. They are elevated, yet often accessible. They can be harsh, with thin air and limited water, yet they are also fertile and life-sustaining. They are landscapes of resilience, where both nature and people adapt to conditions that are neither mountain nor plain, but something uniquely in between. As we descend from the high plateaus, our journey now leads us to the coasts, the meeting points of land and sea. These regions, shaped by waves and tides, hold some of the world's most striking wonders, where geography becomes a stage for both nature's artistry and human history. Leaving the wind-swept highlands, we come to the edges of continents, where land meets the restless seas. Coasts are transition zones, full of life, beauty, and stories. They are shaped by tides, waves, and currents, constantly shifting, yet always familiar to those who live near them. Coastal regions have long been places of settlement, trade, and culture, connecting humanity to the wider world. One of the most dramatic coastal wonders is the cliffs of Moher in Ireland. Rising over 200 meters above the Atlantic Ocean, these dark limestone cliffs stretch for 8 kilometers. They have stood for millions of years, sculpted by wind and water. And today, they are home to colonies of seabirds, their cries echoing against the rock. Standing on these cliffs, one feels the timeless dialogue between land and sea. In Australia, the 12 Apostles stand as towering limestone stacks along the Great Ocean Road, once part of the mainland. They were carved by the relentless force of waves into isolated pillars. Though not 12 in number today, erosion has reduced them. They remain a breathtaking sight, a reminder of how coasts evolve and transform over time. The Bay of Fundy, between Canada's Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, is famous for having the highest tidal range in the world. The difference between high tide and low tide can exceed 16 meters, enough to reveal ocean floors and then submerge them again in a matter of hours. This tidal rhythm supports rich marine ecosystems and has long fascinated scientists and travelers alike. In Norway, the fjords cut deep into the coastline, formed by glaciers retreating thousands of years ago. These narrow, steep-walled inlets, such as the Geirangerfjord and Enkrafjord, are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. They are among the most striking landscapes in the world, where snowy peaks descend into dark blue waters. The fjords tell the story of ice and stone, of slow, powerful forces shaping a land of unparalleled beauty. In Asia, Halong Bay in Vietnam offers a different kind of coastal wonder. Here, thousands of limestone karsts and islands rise from the emerald waters, creating a dreamlike seascape. Legends tell of dragons descending to the bay, carving the rocks with their tails. Today, Halong Bay is both a natural treasure and a cultural icon, blending geology with myth. Further south, the Great Barrier Reef stretches along Australia's northeastern coast, the largest coral reef system on Earth, composed of over 2,900 individual reefs and hundreds of islands. It is visible even from space. The reef is a living wonder, home to countless marine species, from tiny, colorful fish to massive whales. It is also fragile, threatened by climate change, reminding us of the delicate balance that sustains such beauty. On the coast of South America lies the Atacama Trench, part of the Peru-Chile Trench, where the ocean floor plunges deep into the Earth's crust. These submarine canyons are less visible to the eye, but are vital to the planet's systems, influencing earthquakes, tsunamis, and ocean currents. The hidden drama beneath the waves is as powerful as the cliffs and beaches above. Some coasts inspire wonder through their simplicity. The white cliffs of Dover, made of chalk, stand as guardians of England, facing the English Channel. Their brilliant color has been a symbol of homecoming for sailors for centuries. In contrast, black sand beaches, such as Reynisfjara in Iceland or Punalu in Hawaii, tell stories of volcanic origins, where fire met water to create something entirely new. Coasts also serve as crossroads of cultures. Ancient ports, like Alexandria in Egypt, Venice in Italy, and Zanzibar in Tanzania, flourished because of their coastal positions. Trade, exploration, and migration all began at the shoreline, making coasts not just natural wonders, but cultural and economic ones as well. These coastal edges remind us that Earth is dynamic, always changing. Waves carve cliffs, tides flood and retreat, coral reefs grow and die, and humans build harbors and cities. Coasts are places of exchange between land and sea, nature and culture, permanence and change. From the coastlines, our journey now turns inland once more, toward the lakes and rivers that carve through continents, sustaining life and civilization with their flowing presence. From the coasts where land greets the sea, we now turn inward to the waters that flow through continents and gather in vast inland seas. Lakes and rivers are the lifelines of Earth, weaving through landscapes and cultures, sustaining life and shaping civilizations. They are both practical and poetic, sources of water and food, but also of myth, spirituality, and inspiration. The Amazon River in South America is the largest river by discharge volume in the world. Every second, it releases more water into the Atlantic Ocean than the next 7 largest rivers combined, stretching over 6,400 kilometers. It nourishes the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the planet. Along its banks, countless species of plants, animals, and human communities thrive, creating one of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. The Amazon is not just a river. In Africa, the Nile River winds through 11 countries, flowing northward for more than 6,600 kilometers. It is the longest river in the world and has been a cradle of civilization for millennia. Ancient Egypt flourished because of the Nile's yearly floods, which enriched the soil and made agriculture possible. To this day, the Nile remains a vital resource, a thread of life in an otherwise arid land. Asia holds the Yangtze River, the longest in the continent and the third longest in the world. Stretching over 6,300 kilometers, it is central to China's culture economy, and history. Along its course lie great cities such as Chongqing, Wuhan, and Shanghai, as well as natural wonders like the Three Gorges. The Yangtze is both a river of tradition, celebrated in poetry and art, and a river of modernity, powering industry and hydroelectric energy. Europe's Danube River flows through 10 countries, more than any other river in the world. It has been a corridor of culture and commerce for centuries, connecting cities such as Vienna, Budapest, and Belgrade. The Danube has inspired composers, poets, and travelers. Its waters carrying stories from the Black Forest of Germany to the Black Sea in North America. The Mississippi River stretches from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico, a vital artery for the United States. It has shaped trade, agriculture, and culture, inspiring music, literature, and folklore. Along its waters, generations have lived, worked, and dreamed, making the Mississippi not just a river, but a symbol of endurance and change. Lakes, too, hold wonder. The Caspian Sea, bordered by 5 countries, is the largest enclosed inland body of water in the world. Though called a sea, it is technically a lake, vast enough to hold its own unique ecosystems and economies. In Africa, Lake Victoria is the largest lake by area on the continent, a source of life for millions of people. It is also the origin of the White Nile, linking it to one of Earth's greatest river systems. Lake Baikal in Russia is the deepest and one of the oldest lakes in the world, holding about 20% of the planet's unfrozen fresh water. It is often called the Pearl of Siberia. Baikal is a place of superlatives, ancient, vast, and home to species found nowhere else, such as the Baikal seal. Its crystal clear waters reflect not only natural beauty, but also the immense importance of fresh water to life. In North America, the Great Lakes form the largest group of freshwater lakes on Earth by area. Together, they are like inland seas, shaping the economies and histories of both the United States and Canada. Cities such as Chicago, Toronto, and Detroit grew along their shores, benefiting from their resources and trade routes. Lakes and rivers are more than physical features. They are woven into human identity. Sacred rivers, like the Ganges in India, are revered as divine. Their waters believed to purify and bless. Myths and legends surround lakes, from Loch Ness in Scotland, with its mysterious creature, to Lake Titicaca in the Andes, believed by the Incas to be the birthplace of the sun. These waters remind us that Earth is alive with movement. Rivers carve valleys, lakes mirror skies, and both sustain civilizations. They connect mountains to seas, glaciers to deltas, past to present. From these flowing waters, we now move to the frozen frontiers of our planet, the polar regions, where ice and silence dominate, and where the geography is as harsh as it is magnificent. From the warmth of rivers and lakes, we journey now to the coldest and most remote regions of Earth, the polar frontiers. These lands of ice and silence seem inhospitable at first. Yet, they hold some of the most remarkable geographical wonders on our planet. The poles remind us of Earth's extremes, of resilience, fragility, and beauty in its purest forms. Antarctica, the southernmost continent, is a world of superlatives. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest place on Earth. About 98% of it is covered in ice. Some layers over 4 kilometers thick. Beneath that ice lies hidden geography, vast mountains, valleys, and even subglacial lakes. One of these, Lake Vostok, is buried under nearly 4 kilometers of ice and has been sealed off from the surface for millions of years. A world frozen in time. Antarctica is also home to the largest desert on Earth. For despite its icy surface, it receives very little precipitation. The Arctic, by contrast, is an ocean surrounded by land, its waters covered by shifting sea ice. Unlike Antarctica, it is inhabited not only by polar bears, seals, and whales, but also by indigenous peoples such as the Inuit and Chukchi, who have adapted to the harsh climate for thousands of years. The Arctic is a place of resilience and tradition, where culture and environment are deeply intertwined. Both poles are places of glaciers, massive rivers of ice that shape the land as they flow. The Greenland ice sheet, second only to Antarctica's in size, covers about 80% of Greenland and contains enough frozen water to raise global sea levels by 7 meters if it were to melt entirely. Despite their remoteness, the poles are connected to the entire planet. Their ice reflects sunlight, helping regulate Earth's temperature. Their currents and winds influence weather and ocean patterns across the globe. When we look at the polar regions, we are not looking at isolated places, but at systems vital to the balance of our world. Even in their starkness, the poles hold beauty. The aurora borealis, or northern lights, dances across the Arctic sky, while the aurora australis graces the Antarctic. These shimmering curtains of light, caused by solar particles interacting with Earth's magnetic field, turn frozen nights into luminous wonders. The poles are also home to unique life. Penguins thrive in Antarctica, their colonies huddling together against the cold, while polar bears roam the Arctic ice in search of seals. Tiny organisms, from algae that grow under sea ice to krill that feed whales, form the foundation of ecosystems that seem improbable in such extreme conditions. But the polar frontiers are also fragile. Climate change is warming these regions faster than any others, causing ice sheets to shrink and sea ice to retreat. As the poles change, they remind us of the interconnectedness of all geography, where the frozen edges of the Earth can influence weather, sea levels, and life thousands of kilometers away. The polar regions are not just ends of the Earth. They are vital parts of its whole. They are landscapes of endurance and beauty, silence and wonder, fragility and power. Now come to our final reflections. A gentle closing to our journey across Earth's most amazing geography. Facts, bringing together the wonders we've explored into one soothing farewell. And so, dear traveler, we arrive at the quiet end of our long journey across Earth's most amazing geography. Facts. From towering mountains to deep valleys, from restless coasts to silent polar frontiers, we have wandered together across a planet filled with wonders, both vast and delicate. Each fact we shared was more than just knowledge. It was a glimpse into the character of Earth itself, a reminder of how extraordinary our home truly is. Think back to the deserts we crossed, endless seas of sand shaped by wind and time, to the mountains that rise as if reaching for the sky, monuments of stone sculpted over millions of years, to the forests and rivers that sustain life, weaving green and blue threads across the continents, to the oceans that cradle hidden worlds where unseen mountains and trenches lie beneath the waves, and to the frozen poles where silence carries its own music, and where light dances across the night sky in colors that defy description. Each of these places holds its own story. Some tell of natural power, others of resilience, and others still of delicate balance. Together, they remind us that Earth is not just where we live. It is a masterpiece of history, geology, climate, and life. It is both ancient and alive, a world still changing, still evolving, still inviting us to learn. Perhaps what makes geography so enchanting is that it blends science with wonder. It gives us facts that are precise, numbers, measurements, distances, depths. Yet those facts stir the imagination. When we hear that the Amazon releases more water each second than any other river on Earth, we can almost hear its flow. When we learn of mountains buried beneath Antarctica's ice, we can almost see them hidden in their frozen silence. Geography gives us truths, but it also leaves space for awe. As you drift into relaxation, let these images linger gently in your mind. The soft rustle of wind over desert dunes, the crisp, thin air atop the Himalayas, the rhythmic pulse of tides on distant shores, the murmur of rivers winding through forests, and the silence of snowy plains beneath the northern lights. Geography is not only something to study, it is something to feel. Before we close, I invite you, if you enjoyed this journey, to gently support this channel. You can like this video if it brought you peace, subscribe if you would like to join future travels, and share in the comments where in the world you are watching from and what time of night or day it is for you. Your stories create a community as vast and beautiful as the landscapes we explore together. Thank you for spending this time in exploration and calm reflection. May these facts not only relax your mind, but also spark a deeper connection to the world we all share. Geography is endless, and so is the wonder it offers. Rest now, knowing that while Earth is vast and filled with wonders, you have touched many of them tonight through thought, imagination, and curiosity. Until our next journey, may your nights be peaceful, your dreams filled with adventure, and your days touched with awe for the world around you.